Okay, in our last video, we worked through the operating section of the bait and tackle question, problem 11-1A. Download the link below, and you can also get my template at the link below. You know, no logins, just click and you can download it for yourself. So we did the direct method of the operating section. In this video, we're going to do the indirect method. And what the indirect method and the operating section says, okay, the day-to-day business, what were the cash flows generated or spent in this business? The direct method says, here's where my money came from and here's where I spent it. The indirect method says, net income's kind of like operating cash flow. Let's start with net income and work backwards from there. That's why they call it indirect, right? I don't like it as much, but more companies use the indirect method than direct method. So certainly I think it's appropriate to teach and appropriate for you to learn. Just have to change one setting here. There we go. Okay, so the indirect method, and just working down our template, I think the first time you do this, you're wise to use a template. If your professor does not allow you to use a template, that's totally appropriate. They're within their rights to do that. You can see we've done the direct method. And it just means you got to practice and remember what's going on. So the indirect method operating section, very straightforward. You start with net income. You got to remember these two items, and then it's all just current assets and current liabilities. So we'll look at this as we go. So start with net income. So just like plug in net income. We start with net income and we work backwards from there. You can see net income is 136. Let's put that in at the top of our table, 136. Okay, now it says adjustments to reconcile net income to net operating cash. Here's what these two adjustments are for. One is when I calculate net income, part of my expenses, and you can see the operating expenses are 126, part of this is depreciation of 12. Well, if one thing gets like rammed into your mind about a cash flow statement, you will know depreciation is a non-cash expense. If you're coming here, you've already done this in your own class, you will have heard that. You will have heard the good news about depreciation. It is a non-cash expense. Just smash that into your brain. And what does that mean? Like, okay, you've heard the phrase, but what the heck is the person saying? They're saying, if I'm saying net income simulates cash flow, when I calculate net income, I deduct depreciation expense, but I know depreciation doesn't involve cash. Like sales involve cash. I'm selling stuff to my customers. They pay me. Cost of goods sold. I got to pay for the goods that I sell. So that's cash flow. Like there's cash is coming in and out as a result of my sales and my costs. Depreciation is one cost that doesn't involve any cash. And so if I'm saying net income simulates cash flow, take depreciation out of it. So I minus depreciation to arrive at 130. I got a plus depreciation to say, no, that didn't involve cash. So let's take that away from consideration. So plus 12,000. I always think of this section as like opposite day. Expenses, normally it's a minus. In this little blue section, this little blue section, just do the opposite. So here, gain loss on sale of assets. Well, when I sell assets, yes, it is a cash flow, but the reality is it's not an operating cash flow, and the gain or the loss, it doesn't belong here, right? So it's included in net income because gains and losses are revenues and expenses, but it needs to be taken out. So if it's a gain, again, it's opposite day, minus it. If it's a loss, plus it. And again, it's the opposite of what your intuition might say to do with a gain or a loss. And the reason is we are working backwards. So in notes, we have a loss on sale of equipment of $9,000. All right. So again, loss, normally lose is a minus, but in this case, we work backwards. It's a plus 9,000. Whew. Okay. Now, so if you had to memorize this, right? Net income. You practice this enough, you're just going to remember. Okay, net income goes first. These two you got to remember. Depreciation will be in every single question that ever existed. So you hopefully just remember add back depreciation. That's the phrase an accountant will use. And then if there's a gain or loss on sale of assets, you do the opposite. If it's a gain, it's a minus. If it's a loss, it's a plus. Okay, so we've set the table to this point. These, Oh, I hope. What is going on? I can't seem to touch my screen without dragging the thing. These items from here down, this is all of my current assets and current liabilities. If this thing doesn't stop moving, it's driving me absolutely insane. Okay, there we go. These are just all of my current assets and current liabilities. You can see these are typical current assets. These are typical current liabilities. And then I just put a couple of other in case I didn't list ones that are in your question, that you can put them in other. Okay, so let's start with the first one, change in accounts receivable. So I go over here and I see my company's accounts receivable went up by $14,000. So that's the change, right? Plus $14,000 in accounts receivable. I need to say, how does that impact cash? I always try to tell a story. At the end of this, I'm going to give you a trick to do this quickly. But I always try to tell a story. And the story I say is, okay, well, if accounts receivable went down, why did it go down? And the answer is, because I collected money, right? If somebody owed me $100 yesterday, they only owe me $20 today. What happened between yesterday and today? They paid me $80, right? I collected money. So if accounts receivable goes down, we're collecting money. If accounts receivable goes up, it means we're making sales, but we're not collecting money. It's negative for your cash flow. Negative $14,000 to cash here. Now, again, it means these are sales that I've made, but I didn't get the money. I counted the sales in net income, and I'm saying I got to take it back out here in accounts receivable because I didn't get that money, even though it was counted as part of my net income. Okay, next one I think on our list was inventory. Okay, so again, with inventory, I think the opposite way. I think, okay, if inventory goes up, what's happening? Well, I'm buying inventory. Cash is going down. If inventory is going down, less of my money is tied up in inventory. Cash is going up. So in this case, inventory went down by 30. Cash goes up by 30. I skipped office supplies, but our company didn't have any office supplies. I'm going to skip prepaid insurance because we don't have any prepaid insurance. And I'm just working my way down the balance sheet, right? So we don't do cash. We do AR. We did it. Inventory, we did it. Next is equipment. Equipment is long-term, so it doesn't belong here. On to accounts payable. Went from 40 to 32. Well, what happened? I paid some bills, right? If your AP goes down, you're paying your bills, your cash goes down. If your AP goes up, it means you're not paying your bills, your cash goes up. Try not paying your bills for a month. You'll see your cash will go up. So again, 40 to 32 means our cash goes down by 8 minus 8,000 to your cash. Maybe I should be putting these ones in brackets. Let's put them in brackets. I'm going to be consistent. And just don't do pluses here. If you've done the pluses so far, don't worry about it, but this is probably better formatting. Change in wages, salaries payable. I don't think we had that in this company. No. We had taxes payable, though. Our taxes payable goes down. Why does it go down? Because you paid it. So minus 1,000 here. And I think that's going to be it. We did not have interest payable. We didn't have any others. So yeah, that's it. Let's add it up. And then I'm going to give you a real shortcut here. I think I talked a lot this video. I hope it was helpful. I'm in a chatty mood today. I'm just adding the list, right? 136 plus 12 plus 9 minus 14 plus 30 minus 8 minus 1. We land on 164. Now, of course, most normal courses, most normal professors don't have you do both. If you do happen to have to do both, nice feeling that these matched, right? That's like, oh, that's good vibes. All right, I got it to work out. Not for sure that I'm right, but probably I'm right that these two things matched. But again, real companies are not going to do both. They're only going to do one. Okay, I wanted to hit you with a quick trick on the indirect method when you get to this part. If an asset goes up, cash goes down. And you can look through and see when my accounts receivable goes up, you can see our cash goes down. The opposite is true. If an asset goes down, cash goes up. Now, there's only assets and liabilities. So if a liability goes up, cash goes up. If a liability goes down, cash goes down. If I had to memorize this, I wouldn't even look at this part either. I would just go asset goes up, cash goes down, liability goes up, cash goes up, and the opposite is true. So just a little shortcut, just a little cheat sheet you could refer to, and it's so good for this section. I gotta say, when I'm grading exams, this section is a part that gets screwed up all the time. Don't you screw it up, please. I don't know. I was going to beg for likes there, but I don't even want to beg for likes. Stay tuned for our next video, though. We're going to jump through the investing and financing activities, and we'll finish this whole thing up. I feel like I talked longer in this one than I normally will, but I wanted to explain because it's our first problem together. All right. Thanks for watching. In the next part of the video, we'll do investing and financing. Bye-bye. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.